I do multimedia arts. I do paintings, drawings, photography, music. I have 3 suitcases of unpublished writing, and I do video art and video art performances and poetry. And you can see my visual art on Instagram at Edna Floretta Arts. Edna Floretta was my great grandmother's name. I use that name because there's so many other people with my birth name on the internet. And there's a link to my YouTube page, which is actually youtube.com/Edna Floretta. EDNAFLORETTA.
This podcast is not intended to be a substitute for therapy. If you are experiencing mental distress, please seek professional help.
We are all symbol of miracles.
Welcome to the Wellness Project Podcast. I am your host, Wilson. Each episode aims to bring mental health awareness through exploring psychoeducation, scholarly literature, professional interviews, and the personal stories of people's journey to mental wellness. So, with that said, let's get started.
So go line your pockets with anything gold. Cause what good is a conscience if it can't be sold? And we are all simple miracles.
All right. Well, I thought I'd start the podcast off with a poem by my new favorite author, Sean Austin. It's titled Meditation. Meditation. Take a moment to slow your breathing and pay attention to your sensations. Feel your stress and tension leaving. Observe with no more expectations. Name 5 things that you can see and 4 more things that you can hear. Now 3 more things that you can feel, and finally 2 that you can smell. Let go of these and breathe once more, and plant your feet firm on the floor. 1 deep inhale down to your core. Exhale, release, repeat, restore. Place 1 hand upon your chest, and then the other on your pain. Forgive yourself and do your best to accept what is and try again. Imagine yourself as just a child that you are now here holding tight. You are its carer and its guide, so give it love and fight and strength to fight. Now in this state of love and kindness, ask, what am I grateful for? There's always something to remind us of gifts we can be thankful for. Once we have the power of presence and see the privilege of our life, we can seek to understand our essence, our values, purpose, and our strife. Life is suffering, the scriptures say, but our greatest purpose can be found. In our obstacles, there is a way to live with purpose and rebound. Repeat this as a meditation. Read it slow and take each action. You are your own best medication to clear your mind and regain traction.
Beautiful.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
His poetry is I just love it. I just love it. Do you like poetry?
I write poetry.
Oh, really?
And I've read a lot of poetry.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love poetry.
Yeah, just the whole creative mind it's just a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. It's very healing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, healing, and I think for me, it's been a way to connect with others.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like, yeah, doing art's great for you, but it's even better when you can share it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah. Has art always been a source of strength for you?
Yeah, I've been an artist since I was a little girl, and my teacher in high school really pushed me that way to study it in college, and I got a scholarship to the Columbus College of Art and Design, so I went there for 2 years, and then I finished my degree in photography and video art in the University of Toledo, and then I studied for a semester at the San Francisco Art Institute.
Oh, wow.
And then I stayed there for 3 years to hang out with the poets and the writers because that's when I really started writing and being influenced by their revolutionary ideas
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and really got into the writing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a beautiful community.
So, like, when you were doing artwork as a kid, like, what was that experience like?
Um, it was very healing. My parents went through a divorce, and my dad was a Vietnam vet. He was a really bad alcoholic because of it, and that was my getaway, my escape.
Okay. Yeah. So, sort of a way for you to get your mind off of some of the home
Mm-hmm.
situations.
Mm-hmm. It was a release for me.
Yeah. What kind of artwork did you do?
Oh, when I was little, I
Yeah.
just did chalk drawings and crayon drawings, and I didn't paint until I maybe junior high.
Okay.
And then I think I started out with watercolors, but now I do mostly acrylic.
Mm-hmm. Watercolor's hard. Oof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Gosh, it takes so much patience, and like I always struggled with letting it dry, so then you can then go back over it. I mean, it just ended up being kind of like one big like watery blob, like
Mm-hmm.
whenever I would do it. So
Well, I like to talk about living through schizophrenia.
okay, wow, yeah.
In 2003, I was catatonic in the state mental hospital in Toledo, Ohio.
Can you describe what that means for our audience?
Uh,
Catatonic.
it's like being in a coma, but I was able to get up and walk to the bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
but then I go right back to bed and I couldn't talk. I couldn't feed myself. I actually started my menstrual cycle and just let it drip down my legs. And it was like 3 days till the nurses noticed and threw me in the shower. It was really terrible.
Yeah.
But I remembered what was going on.
So in your mind, you were coherent to sort of to to understand what was going on.
Yeah.
You just couldn't speak or
Yeah.
move your body.
Yeah.
Now, how did you end up in the hospital, though? Did someone find you at home in that state, or?
I was having, I was hearing voices and seeing hallucinations. So I was acting real weird. So my dad took me to the Fremont Hospital, and they did a drug test to see if it was drugs,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously it wasn't. And so they put me in the mental ward there, and I refused medication. So that's when they put me to the state hospital, and I went catatonic there.
Okay. About how old were you?
It was my late 20s, maybe 26, 27.
Mm-hmm. So that for the audience, schizophrenia is one of those mental disorders that don't really start to typically show up until later in either your adolescence or early adulthood. So there were no signs, or you weren't hearing voices when you were younger.
No, but my official diagnosis was schizoaffective disorder.
Okay.
So I was dealing with depression my whole life.
Okay. So there was
Yeah.
always sort of that undertone of depression.
Mm-hmm.
What was? Can you describe that to me? When you were a kid going through depression, the reason why I'm asking that is because for people that don't have depression, they tend to use things like, oh, it means that you're just sad or you're going through something difficult. And that's not what depression is.
It's like there's a weight on your heart.
Okay.
It's really heavy,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel hopeless. Yeah.
So was art, though, a way for you to kind of lift yourself up sometimes, or to express it maybe?
Absolutely art, and I'm very well read. I think I've read more books than anyone I know.
Mhm.
And I really get lost in books.
Okay. Would you describe yourself as like a social kid? Like, did you have a large group of friends or maybe a close
No,
group?
I had a group of 3 other girls. Us 4, we had a nickname for our group.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we hung out in junior high. Then I moved to Port Clinton with my father and kind of separated from them and moving to a new school. I really didn't have too many friends, but I had a boyfriend at the times.
Okay. Okay. So around the age of 26 is when you started to hear voices and hallucinate.
Yes.
Can you describe to me what it either sounded like or like what were they saying or
Um, you physically hear it in your ears, like you would hear. It's not like a thought in your head.
mm-hmm.
You physically hear a sound,
Mm-hmm.
and the hallucinations. Uh, you can't tell what's real and what's not real. Like I saw people walking down the street that weren't there. So you see what's there, the street, but then the person's a hallucination.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fascinating, actually. But it was like going up and down Jacob's ladder. It started out really scary, then it became maddening, hilarious, where I was laughing like a mad woman, and then it was very spiritual, and it kept going back through, cycling through
Yeah.
those 3 stages.
Okay.
What the voices were saying, what the hallucinations that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the most amazing, fascinating things, actually.
Yeah.
And when I did get out of the hospital, I wrote a film script called Possession of Insanity that I had remembered everything that I had heard and saw.
That's what I was going to ask next is like, so for you, like these hallucinations and these voices, you can remember them. It's all intertwined into your external reality, let's
Yeah.
say. Okay. In like the first couple times that this happened, I imagine that was kind of confusing and like you weren't sure, or did you just kind of assume and walk into it being
When you're in
real?
it,
Yeah.
you can't think, "Oh, I'm seeing and hearing things." It overtakes your mind.
Okay.
You can't reflect and say, "Oh, this isn't real."
Right.
You think it's real.
Yeah.
You
And
think it's really real.
in how often do you go through these cycles, would you say?
Well, what happened was I got out of the state mental hospital in January, went in October, got out in January, and I felt terrible on the drugs they put me on. I was like a zombie, so I didn't know anything about schizophrenia or anyone who had it. So I stopped taking the medicine. Well, 3 months later in April, the same thing happened again.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up cutting off all my hair. Like I had a bald head. And during that time in April, I wrote an entire book in a schizophrenic state, which is absolutely fascinating to read. Kind of gives an idea of what's going on inside your mind when you're in that state. And I called it the April Fool Bible because I wrote it in April. And uh, okay, and then when I got out, I was admitted to the another Toledo hospital. I wasn't catatonic this time,
Mm-hmm.
and they put me back on the meds, and I learned my lesson, and I never stopped my meds since. And my schizophrenia has actually been in remission ever since 2004.
Wow.
But I still have the bipolar depression,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm on disability for that.
Okay. So who told you or like how did you find out that you had schizophrenia? Like did it happen when you were at the hospital
When I
or
went catatonic,
yeah.
I was refusing medication. They had to have a meeting and legally be able to inject me with needles
Mm-hmm.
because I was refusing medication. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
I remember the stuff I was saying when they were asking me questions in the meeting. It was absolutely insane. It was obvious I had schizophrenia.
Okay.
Like,
Was
like I thought I was talking to Bin Laden.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was during that time period.
Yeah. Did you have to, like, not have to, like, were you able to talk with the other patients there, or sort of have like a support group for schizophrenia or anything like that?
Oh my, no. I did not bond with anybody in that hospital. There was a guy named Gary who tore down the Christmas tree, and that made my day. It was so thrilling to see Gary tear down the Christmas tree.
Oh geez. Sounds like an anger management problem.
And then there was this guy there who was really creepy, who said the only way to eternity is to consume female the flesh of dead females.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so there was a lot of strange
Yeah.
characters.
Did you feel safe there?
I felt safe, but I did have an incident. I was in a room with another woman, and she had, I don't know what she did, but she had a guard watching her
Mm.
24/7 at the door. And I was in the shower one day, and next thing I know, she's naked in the shower with me. So I got mad. I got out. I slowly stepped out. She had a big smile on her face. She was out of it too. I mean, I don't think she knew what she was doing. And I got dressed and I went to the guard. I'm like, why did you let her go in the bathroom when I was in the shower?
Right.
You were watching her.
Yeah.
I was really mad.
Yeah. Just felt violated. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Yeah.
So, but like, how did they tell you that you had schizophrenia?
The psychiatrist at the state mental hospital,
Okay.
once the medication was taking effect and I could think again, he was asking me questions about to find out what I was saying was real and what I was saying
Mm-hmm.
was not real. Like he was trying to figure that out
Yeah.
because I was talking all kinds of stuff, and then he explained that to me.
Did it help with at least getting closure to know that that's what was going on?
Uh, it was really scary, and I have to admit, like, it ruined my life. Uh, ever since ever since that happened, well, first of all, I gained over 100 pounds on antipsychotics. So not only did I lose my mind, I lost my body too.
Mhm.
And it's been very, very difficult because I was always thin my whole life, and it's hard to be inside such a heavy body.
Mm.
But I know I have to take the medication,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I struggle because of the deep depression and my life situation, being on disability and having so little money and still being dependent financially on my parents.
Mm.
My mom bought me a car. My dad pays my car insurance. Um, it, I have a lot of suicidal thoughts,
Okay.
but I have a good support system through my family and friends, and that's what helps me make it through. And the art.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the art. Sometimes I don't want to get out of bed, and then I force myself to get up and make a painting. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Having purpose, you know?
Yeah. I actually volunteered for hospice for 2 years.
Oh, great. Yeah. Just so you can be around other people
I
and to connect.
have for a purpose. I felt like
Yeah.
I was really doing something special, and I was really good at it. The company I worked for were really, really happy with me working there. And then what happened, a close friend, he was my ex-boyfriend, and I talked to him on the phone every day, and he was instrumental in keeping me out of depression and helping me through what I went through, and he committed suicide. And then I had severe anxiety and I had to quit doing hospice.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's hard.
I've had 4 close friends commit suicide.
It's something that we really need to start talking more about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
we really, really do. And it's uncomfortable. It's not an easy topic to really talk about, but it needs to happen more.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So, and you might not have an answer for this, but like, what would be a way that you would either receive help from others, or how would you prefer people to interact with you?
I just, I enjoy conversation.
Hmm.
I'm very social. And sometimes I just sit alone in my apartment. So conversations mean a lot to me.
Yeah. Yeah. You're getting a little emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is good. You know, it shows that you're human.
Yeah.
You know, are you in therapy?
I have a counselor, but she does not help me in any way.
Okay.
I'm really unhappy with her.
Okay. This kind of helps me kind of lead into one of the questions that I ask when I'm doing the comprehensive assessments are, you know, for people that have received therapy, what has been one thing that has been the most helpful from therapist, and what has been something that has been the least helpful from that
Mhm.
therapist?
I did have a woman named Michelle uh, as a counselor years ago, and she was very, very good. She listened and then she gave just amazing suggestions
Mm.
and even like books to read or a different way of looking at something or a way of dealing with something. And the counselor that I'm really frustrated with now, she listens and then says nothing. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So uses that silence and just kind of parrots back whatever
Yes.
you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she's not helpful at all.
Well, you can start interviewing for someone else.
Mhm.
You know, it's something that is, I don't want to say common, but like sometimes the relationship sort of dries up too, and whether the provider or the client makes the decision to be able to move on to someone else too, and that's okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have a friend in Cleveland who sees a therapist that she absolutely loves. And he is a big fan of Carl Jung.
Mm.
And he really gives her a lot of philosophy to different ways to look at her
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
And she loves him. I'm really happy for her that
Yeah.
she found someone that she likes.
That's awesome. I love it. I feel very blessed to be able to talk with people every day about their mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it can be, I don't want to say exhausting sometimes, but I think the challenge that I run into, at least lately, is just, you know, it's 50 minutes to an hour, but I'm doing about 6 to 8 of them per day. And it's just boom, 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 and like, not that the client that I'm currently seeing knows what the client before them were saying, but I do, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm having to switch from, okay, we're going to talk about depression, to then we're going to talk about your past trauma, to then the next person's ADHD, then the next person's relationships, and it's just, I don't know. I love it though.
Didn't you start out working with children?
I did actually. Yep. Yeah, the very first experience that I had was I was a homeschool teacher for a family of 5 that had autism.
I have a friend who has an autistic baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I love that community so much. So they've been a big part of my career.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what would you like for people to know about people with schizophrenia? In other words, like I've personally interacted with maybe 3 or 4, people, and if they're not in, like, what would be like the right word for when they're seeing hallucinations, or like what word would you like for me to use? Like, is it an episode? Is it a pattern, a series? What do you call them?
Uh, is pure insanity.
Okay. Yeah.
Is pure insanity. Like, and it takes over your mind, and you can't reason that, hey, I'm having these hallucinations. You just think it's all really happening,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know that you're in it when you're in it. You can't help it.
And does it ever happen like at nighttime? Like, do you wake up
Oh
sometimes and
yeah,
you're in
it's
them?
classic that you don't sleep when you're in a schizophrenic state. You can
Okay.
be up for days.
What's the longest episode that's happened for you?
Um, I think I was up awake for 3 or 4 days at one time.
Well,
Yeah, and I stopped eating too.
how come?
I don't know. That's what the voices told me.
Okay.
And I mean, at one point they told me toilet paper was poison, so I stopped using toilet paper.
Mm.
Yeah, you just believe what they say when
What they
you're
say?
yeah.
Do they have like a male or a female voice?
I've heard both.
You've heard both?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you ever ask them to identify themselves?
No, because you can't reflect and think. You
Okay.
just
So these voices, it, what it seems like is like the voices literally take over your mind and your body,
they
and
do.
you're just, are you, and you're not aware of it. So like, there's no like subconscious person to say, hey, this too shall pass. It's like, no, we have to follow these voices, and
Mhm.
you're in it. You're in it.
That's exactly how it is. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Since being on medicine, so you said that since 2004, right, was the last.
I had one episode when the doctor changed my antidepressant. After a couple weeks, I was in my bedroom and I saw a woman walk through my apartment into the bathroom. And at that point, I wasn't so deep into it. I knew I had seen a hallucination, and it was just that one little incident. And so I immediately stopped taking the antidepressant because it was interfering with my antipsychotic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Do you feel like you have a good relationship with your psychiatrist now?
yeah, I like my psychiatrist, but they only talk to you for 10 minutes.
Right. That's the other thing that, I think the general public doesn't understand is that,
Yeah.
you know, people that are prescribing the medication part,
Uh,
they have hundreds, if not thousands of clients. So it's like 15-minute check-ins. It's not
yeah,
doing
it's
like
no
talk
longer
therapy.
than no longer than 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, just a couple quick questions and then deciding whether to keep the same medication or change one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. So your support group now, though,
very supportive.
in what ways?
Oh, my friends are wonderful. They encourage my art and my creativity, and I've actually collaborated with a lot of my friends on things. And my family's very loving. And I mean, I don't think everyone understands what I went through. Um, like even my dad's sisters are in denial. They don't think I have schizophrenia because I can sit and have a conversation, and they didn't see me when I was in that state.
Right.
So, but a lot of love from my family and friends, and I'm lucky that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Schizophrenia is a really difficult one for the general public to understand, you know?
Yeah, and my problem is when I meet someone new or I start to date someone new, at what point do you tell them?
Mm, hmm.
It's really heartbreaking.
In what way?
Like, my self-esteem.
Because they decide to not stay with you after you tell them?
People think of you differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But then there's other people who have been through their own problems, like drug abuse or spousal abuse, and they been through something and they can understand and accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So do you currently then live by yourself?
I do.
Yeah.
But I'm in subsidized housing.
Okay. And then
Mhm.
so but like your friends and your parents will come and check in on you and make sure you're doing okay.
Well, I don't get much visitors. I have to go visit them. I don't know why that is, but
Yeah.
uh, my one friend that would come over every day, she committed suicide last year.
Man, there's just been a lot of suicide too.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So,
There's actually in that book, I think there's a poem about suicide, if I remember. Yep. It's called Black Cloud. Do you want to hear it?
yes, please.
Black Cloud. I wake up to a feeling of dread, empty yet heavy, heart pounding yet dead. There's a brief euphoria as I hold my breath, then the inevitable as I exhale death. Like a hot night with one leg under the sheet, I lay half in life, unable, incomplete. The clear horizon between ocean and sky, now a fog that blurs what it is to die. When your every identity has faded to gray and your sense of belonging has turned you away, you begin to question your very existence and doubt that your mind has any real substance. It is from this state that I stare to the abyss and look back to you all and think, what did I miss? For it seems there's no meaning to why I am here, so without any purpose, it's goodbye, I fear. There are many ways I have thought to go, the bottle, meds, or just veer off the road. It just seems insane that I'd prefer nothing than continue a life that makes me feel something. But this is the problem that others don't see. I'm stuck in a black cloud. I cannot break free. So rather would I face the end than poison the world, my family and friends. They've suffered enough, and so have I. But now I can't keep up this lie. I know it's selfish to leave like this, but I have no option. What one did I miss? My final chance was to be heard, but to reach for help would be absurd. Surely, if I'm about to go, how bad can it be for my pain to show? I asked for help without real hope. I didn't think it would stop the rope, but I broke down in tears and lost control, and soon my mates had saved my soul. The black cloud lifted enough to find I wasn't alone inside my mind. Others had these thoughts as well, and there are ways to escape this hell. I started small and shared my story. It wasn't much, no courageous worry. But the cloud kept clearing till I saw the light. Now I have the strength to continue to fight. There's power in vulnerability, so fuck off pride and dignity. What had I missed to keep on living? To support each other and keep on giving.
Giving, that's something that's very important to me. All my friends say I'm the most giving and kind person they know. I just give and give everything I can.
To others.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always try to challenge people because yeah, we're usually really good givers with others, but we need to be givers to ourselves
to
too.
ourselves. Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Actually wanted to talk about an art term. There's an art term called chiaroscura, and what it means is to make an object 3D by shading with dark and light.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say when you go through traumatic things in life, it's actually chiaroscuring your soul.
Mm.
So that's what I say to myself. Okay, I'm going through this terrible thing, but it's making me so much stronger than the people who haven't went through anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I can't remember how that quote goes, but like the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you.
Yeah.
You know, so for people that, maybe have had what we'd call sheltered lives,
Mm.
you know, we still shouldn't look down on them either, because that is the worst that they've seen,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's always, I think, a better perspective to look at how we grow through difficult things. And that when we get to the other side of that really difficult experience being a source of strength, to show yourself how strong you are, that's a beautiful thing too.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're a beautiful person.
Oh, thank you, Michael.
Yeah. What question would you have for me, if you have any?
Um, what would in a therapy session, if someone said they were having suicidal thoughts, what is what is your go-to for advice for that?
Sure. Yeah. That's a great question. So I would do a lethality assessment with them sort of in the moment. So I would ask them, do you have a plan to kill yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Have you had past attempts to kill yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really important to use direct language like that. This is, I think
Mm-hmm.
for a period of time, we were kind of lightly saying, do you want to hurt yourself? It's no, do you have a plan to kill yourself?
Right.
With me currently doing telehealth, it's created some unique, I think, I wouldn't even say challenges, just procedures. So I will notify another team member that will contact that person's emergency contact
Mm-hmm.
person. And then I also have your address for where you're at doing the session. So we would call the police to come and do a welfare check on you.
Mm-hmm.
But the most important thing would be to stay on the line with you,
Right.
and to be able to talk to you,
Mm-hmm.
like asking maybe, why do you feel that way right now? And then we also do safety plans. So we will put other contacts in your safety plan. Um, you know, it's always a good idea to lock up sharp objects, keep eyes on supervision, make sure that that person's safe, and to hopefully get them to the hospital. I think one of the misperceptions or challenges that people have is, well, the hospital's not going to do anything. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't make that call. Like, you take them to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
That's a safe place to take someone,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And then sort of after that, once we can get the person safe, it's to start really looking at what are going to be some protective factors for you. Like, I know that art is a protective factor for you,
Mm-hmm.
that your family is a protective factor for you. So those are things worth living for,
Mm-hmm.
and helping people find purpose. Because really, suicide is a challenge because we have to break the codes of silence
Mm-hmm.
within that, meaning that we have to talk about some of the difficult thoughts that we have and some of the struggles that we have, and be able to ask for help and to receive help from other people.
I have a friend whose philosophy, who he tells everyone who's going through something and might be suicidal, he'll say, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
And I think it's important to note too that you leave people that love you behind, always wondering and questioning for the rest of their life if they could have done something different.
Oh yeah, I've seen that, hands-on, even for me personally.
Yeah.
With my friends.
So if you would do it for your own selfish reasons, think of the people that you would leave behind, what they would have to go through. And that should hopefully be enough too, to be able to ask for help.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, thank you for coming in, because I think it's having this conversation and being a source of strength to know that like people aren't alone, Can you hear those birds out back? Yeah. Those seagulls, I'll tell you. So, good question. Yeah. Well, what would be, if you could walk us out of this episode for today, what is one thing you would like for people to know about you and schizophrenia?
That it's a disease, that it's very scary. And if you run into on the street someone in that state of mind where they're not making sense, you need to call the police and get them to a hospital.
Okay. I do have one more follow-up question.
Okay.
What advice would you like to give someone that has schizophrenia?
Always take your medication.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, because on the medication, I have been completely in remission. Like I said, it made me gain over 100 pounds, but I know I have to take it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming in today, and I hope I've made a friend to be able to come back and do another episode.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Thanks. If you are considering therapy or in the market for a different mental health therapist, you should contact Cornerstone Behavioral Health. At Cornerstone Behavioral Health, the goal is to be a global voice for trauma recovery. They are a 100% telehealth agency providing mental health counseling and medication management for adults in Ohio. That's right, they offer a free consultation and accept all major insurance companies or private pay. If you go to cornerstonebehavioralhealth.org and click on the Services tab, you can read the bios of the therapists and even request one of them specifically to talk more about your mental health needs. To learn more about Cornerstone Behavioral Health, just visit cornerstonebehavioralhealth.org to register for a free consultation and response within just 48 hours. Hope starts here.
Hold each other close, walking in the rain. You were like a picture and I the frame. You were like the air and I a plane.
By the way, at The Wellness Project, we have merchandise. That's right, all mental health awareness themed products. We've got artwork, we've got shirts, we've got hats, we've got candles. We're gonna have one for like anxiety awareness, depression awareness, wellness awareness, which is actually out right now. That's right, you can get your own wellness awareness candle. What does it smell like, right? You have to come in and check it out. But if you hit me up on Facebook, or you can email me and I can give you that information. And thank you for your support.
There's a million places I could go, but so